Hello everyone, welcome to this video. Today we're going to look a bit closer at this little Ficus Benjamina Bonsai you can see right here, and we're going to prune it back a little bit. So there has been a lot of new growth already now this summer season and time to prune it back. Before we start with the pruning, I will give you a bit of the history of this tree. If you want to skip right away to the action, feel free to do so. You will find the time steps in the description. But for now, I just want to talk quickly about also how this tree got the form it has right now. When I got this tree, actually, it was just normal garden center material. So it was really this little Ficus Benjamina that you can find basically in every garden center for very little money, actually. I think this was only a couple of euros, actually. It was in a normal plastic pot. It didn't really have any form. And over the last 3 to 4 years, I gradually turned it more and more into the bonsai you can see here today. So I tested a lot on this tree. I did very hard structural pruning on it. I grew aerial roots on it, which it still features one. It had way more, but with the final design, this one here is the one that is left still. And yeah, so repotted it, I wired it quite harshly and quite a lot. I did a lot of structural pruning on it also. We still can see some of the remaining scars basically of that in a second then. And yes, a lot of work on this tree, a lot of root work, for example. Also, I try to, of course, show you here in the pictures also how it used to look like, just to get an idea of the way this tree has already gone. And I find this the most interesting about bonsai, when you take just some raw material and you turn it into a bonsai. I find it much more fulfilling, I would say, than just buying a readily made bonsai in a garden center that is like mass produced and they all look quite similar. Give it a try, I would say. Really give it a try in making your own bonsai. Go out in garden centers, in nurseries, in plant nurseries, tree nurseries, and see what trees they have and what speaks to you, and just get your hand on raw material and just keep trying and keep experimenting. But enough talking for today. I would say let's jump right into pruning this little tree, and for that I will give you a closer look at it. So let me start with giving you just a quick view from all the different sides and angles of this tree. You can see I'm still a bit uncertain about the actual front, because I do also like to look from this side very much, with the aerial root here featured in the back then. So I would say this tree is still quite open when it comes to a front and a back. It has very much to do also with this new branch that is growing right here. So to give you an idea, we have before an equally high branch here, and that we took out. And this new branch is starting to form here. I can already see that it is getting nice and woody already here at the base of the branch. I will let this one grow quite long still, so this we won't prune today, because I want to get it a bit thicker still, simply to be a nice feature on this tree in the future, and also fit better in with the rest of the trunk and also this branch in here. But this could in the future be a nice little side branch here. The overall tape of the tree I also really like. So as we have cut it back so often, there is nice taper going on here. The ramification is actually the one thing I want to focus about the most today. So as it is quite a young and small tree, we don't have that many branching out going on the tree, and that is something, of course, with pruning that we will look into improving today. So without further ado, let's start seeing where we can take stuff out, where we can work on the ramification. And I can already see it here with this little side branch, for example. We have basically only this one shoot here and one little side branch here in the back. So I would already go in here at the back, taking out the tip. This Ficus Benjamina produces a lot of sap. So this one is really very prolific when it comes to producing sap, way more than many of the other Ficus varieties that I have. So always keep that in mind when pruning a Ficus Benjamina. Also here on this side, you can see this is very long, and also the last leaf here that has grown is quite big. So we will also go in here. Let me pull this down a little bit, and I'll go back all the way here. So taking 3 leaves out, hoping that again we get some branching here. I will of course also try to do some directional pruning here on this tree, meaning I will leave the leaf on the side in which I want the tree in the future to grow in this direction. So if we leave this one, it will grow outwards a bit more. And of course, probably branch here anyway, and then we will see which branch we keep, if we keep both, and in which direction it will go. I will simply work my way up the tree. As I said, the lower one here we won't touch, but now we just work our way up the tree and see how we can improve it. A lot of it will be simply pruning the tips, of course, which is also, of course, a viable option always. But at some spots I do see that we need to do a bit more work. I can see here there has been some dying back, so we have some dead branches left here, so we can simply take those out. That is just, as I see, normal dieback on a tree. Nothing to worry about. In general, a very healthy looking tree anyway. So here again, with directional pruning, I will opt for this leaf here. So we go in here and cut it. Here in the future, once it gets a bit more woody, we will wire this also, of course, a bit down and a bit out. Or if we go for a completely different view of the tree again, we might take it out completely again. This is still, of course, open for debate because I do like this leaning look. We will have anyway this leader here probably going into this direction, but for now we leave it on. Here's another question. If we leave this branch on, for example, in the future we might not even need this upper branch here, which obscures the view anyway a bit, and it would be on the inside of the band, which I'm also not too happy, and we have two branches on each side that are very close together here. So this one we might in the future take out. I won't do it right now because, as I said, we're not really sure if we keep this one, so I will simply see how to prune it back. I can see already we have some ramification going on here. So once again, I will leave one leaf from this part on it and see in which direction it will go. Also from the place where it already started to ramify, I just will take out the tip. Just to stunt the growth also here a bit, so it also focuses a bit more maybe on this spot here where we just cut it back so it ramifies here. So this was this little branch here, and then we can already move up to the apex. The apex itself I'm not too happy about yet because we don't really have any ramification going on here. Here slightly starting, but at the leader here, for example, almost no ramification, only here now starting a bit. Question is that already too high? In my opinion, it is. Also here, this little side branch, it's very laggy actually, so we take it back to 2 leaf pairs. And here again, let me see, we have some ramification going on actually in the back here, which is great as I can see right now. So let me just start taking it back and then we see if we might even get a bit more harsh and a bit more drastic on it. The leader is quite long. I'm not sure I'm too happy if it gets that long without any ramification. I mean, the ramification is starting here, starts to ramify here a little bit. Let me again also look from the other side. It's a bit too much, to be honest. Also here you can see we can take it back to 1 leaf. I think I would actually start a bit over here again with the leader. I don't want it to run away, and that is always the problem with these Ficus Benjamina that I have, that the leader becomes so strong and only grows in one direction. If you miss it, it just gets too laggy and then the tree wouldn't be as compact any longer. So sometimes it's better to cut back, try again with the ramification, and keep the overall look and the overall tightness of the tree, I would say. Keep it really nice and tidy instead of having it then grow laggy and just looking bare maybe on the inside. So I would already say this is a drastic change, a nice haircut, and I think a good setup for future ramification. Let me see here. No, that's fine, there's just 1 more leaf growing right now, so it wouldn't go in there. Here it is also interesting if we can get some more growth here from this branch, because here this would actually be a very nice feature on the tree, this branch. These ones we might wire a bit in the future. What I already see also what we can do before it cuts into the tree too much is take off the wire we had on these two side branches. They should have settled in by now. And the wire bites quite fast on a ficus because they do grow quite fast. And that, of course, we try to avoid, that it bites into the tree, damaging it. It still has some of the marks actually of the wire I kept on for too long on lower parts of the branches, so that's not something we're going to risk. So we simply take out the wire here. And it definitely has already settled quite nicely. Here see a little thing broke off, which actually is good, because here maybe a new branch also will form, or some new growth at least. Giving it one final look. I still really like the feature of the aerial root here. I really do enjoy it. It's a very nice little touch to this tree. And as I said, this in the future we will decide how it will look like, if it will stay or not. But even without it, I would say the tree looks quite nice. I like the slightly leaning form, then again moving over here, so I can see it go both ways. But for now, I would say let's keep it at that. So there we are, a little prune on my Ficus Benjamina bonsai. I think it is set up nicely for the rest of growth season. If you have any questions about this tree or pruning in general, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I answer them as soon as I see them. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a like. If you enjoyed this channel, of course, also feel free to subscribe. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.